In this video, I want to break down my exact sales process and how it's evolved through 3 distinct phases over the last 5 or so years and is responsible for a total of $6 million in sales collected. Now, if you're new here, my name is Greg Hickman. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Alt Agency. We are a training and consulting company, and we've taken over 700 clients through our process to help them productize and systematize their business so that it runs more like a well-oiled machine. We also help people package up their intellectual property and bolt on new income streams that get them paid for their thinking, like training, consulting, and workshops. And in today's video, I actually want to talk about the sales system and how that's evolved from kind of a founder-led sales process, as I said earlier, to having appointment setters, or SDRs as some people call them, or account executives and closers in the process as well. And now some of the things we're even testing, like selling via Loom videos and Notion documents, which is a little bit more advanced, but I want to talk you through the evolution over the last 5 or so years, because at its core, the system really hasn't changed. It's just a few tweaks and iterations and how new people fit into the process that have allowed and provided me with a whole lot more leverage as the founder. Before we jump into each of the 3 workflows, I want to call out something that I've heard Alex Hormozi say. And when I look back on our iterations of this sales process, I think a lot of people jump out of the gate and they try to over automate too soon. And Alex made a comment around when you're building out your sales and your sales process, first you want to maximize flow, meaning you don't want to have a lot of obstacles or hoops that the prospect is required to jump through before they hop on a call with you to learn about how you might be able to help. So in the beginning, even if you do have, say, a questionnaire to capture a little bit of info, you're probably going to just capture light information, all right? Because we don't want to add too much resistance. And why do we want that? Because in the early days, there's a ton of gold to be found in the conversations with your prospects to help you better refine how you articulate how you can help, to hear how they share their problems, their fears, frustrations, their wants, and aspirations, and really the words that they're using to describe those things, because you can utilize that to improve and better speak to your target market. So having as many of those conversations early on is really important. So again, keeping the friction as low as possible when you go to have these calls. So that's what Alex means when he says maximizing the flow. The second phase of this is really starting to monetize the flow. As you're having more reps, you're going to get an idea as to who is a good fit, who's a bad fit. And in that regard, you should be enrolling more clients into your services because you're having more conversations and you're just getting better. And as the volume is starting to increase, maybe your marketing efforts or your paid ad efforts are starting to pick up and you're starting to see more volume of calls, that's when we want to go and start to control and throttle that volume. Because as we get more volume, we just want to make sure that we're talking to the most highly qualified people that are likely to be a good fit for our service. And so this is where we're going to start to add a little bit more friction, maybe some more in-depth questionnaire questions before they can book the call. We might turn some people down. We might require them to watch a short video before the call. You get my point. But we want to maximize the flow first, then we want to monetize the flow, and then we want to start to control and throttle the flow for high quality. So it's kind of a higher quality, get a lot of reps, to I'm really only speaking to the most qualified people for the service that we know that we can offer and sell to people that are very specific and clear to us. So that being said, let's dive into the first process, founder-led sales, phase 1. Now, we got started with paid traffic a little bit early, but we use both organic content and paid. And so you can kind of see here, when we create content in our business and kind of what we help clients with is, how do you create content that gets people to engage, raise their hand and say, hey, I'm looking to learn more. And when they do, we have warm outreach to go chat with them, whether that's in a LinkedIn message or in an Instagram DM. If you find yourself in a conversation with someone who engaged with your content, we want to make sure that they and check in that A, we're adding value, and B, that if they are qualified. And so you're going to find yourself in a situation where we're looking to qualify them by chat. Now, you could easily also just send them a link to schedule a call, but at the very least, you want to make sure you're talking to someone that is in the wheelhouse of who you might be able to help. So we can qualify them. We want to get verbal interest if they're actually looking for help. Then we go ahead and schedule a consultation or discovery. So, hey, are you an agency owner? Yes. Are you looking to productize your service? Awesome. Well, that's what we actually help people do. Is this something you'd like to chat about possibly? Yeah. Okay, cool. Here's the link. Let's have a conversation. And so they would schedule a call, right? And that's where we have the consultation, which typically was 45 to 60 minutes. And in that conversation, the flow is very simple. We have an agenda, a tiny bit of rapport, kind of understand their motivation in talking with us in the first place. I like to go through what their current reality looks like. How are their things? How is their business going? Where do they want to get to? What's the success look like? What are the roadblocks that are getting in the way? Then we want to replay that back to them just to make sure we heard everything correctly, provide them a prescription or a plan, get their buy-in on they want to do something about this and our service is the good fit. And then we want to confirm the start date and or schedule a follow-up. Okay. So from there, if they do enroll, then they go into new client onboarding. If they didn't enroll, then typically we follow up and have a follow-up consultation that's, anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes. That consultation is really about scheduling the follow-up only as needed, answering any questions, confirming their start date, etc. Now, it's very similar if we do paid ads. If we run a paid ad and they opt in, we're going to deliver the asset of whatever they opted in for. And that asset is fundamentally encouraging them to schedule a call. So if they schedule a call and they're qualified, again, we have that same consultation. If they schedule the call and they're not qualified, they end up in our weekly newsletter and we continue to nurture them and provide value and try to bring them onto a conversation at a later date. Again, at this stage, these are the key pieces of the process, and you can dial and notch down on how hard you qualify in each of these stages. Like you might in the very early days not even use any questions in your chat. You might just say, hey, if you're interested in this, we can hop on a call and just do everything you can to get them onto a call so you can hear that language. And on the flip side, if you're using paid ads, you might not have them really quote unquote apply or fill out a questionnaire. They might just be able to schedule the call and you take all of the calls in the beginning. As you start having more reps, you can start to take only the ones that you want to talk to. So at a high level, the founder-led sales process for us was organic content into a conversation, into a consultation. And if they enroll, sweet, we onboard them. If they don't, we have a follow-up plan, whether that is follow-up with specific calls or at a later date, one-on-one, and even continuing to send them our content from our email newsletter. If that was a paid ad, they might opt into a lead magnet of some sort, a PDF, a checklist, or a video sales letter. And from there, they're invited to book a call, in which case we end up on the consultation again, which is just that 45-minute consultative process where we kind of explore how we might be able to help. That, my friends, is phase one of the founder-led sales process, which again, in the early days, I was doing all of these pieces from having the qualifying conversations to reviewing the questionnaires to having the consultation to scheduling the follow-up, etc. All right, so as that evolves and as you start having more calls and more volume, something that's really common in a founder-led sales process, if you have enough volume, but not enough volume to justify bringing on a closer or an account executive to close on your behalf, because that does cost money and time, often it makes sense to bring on some sort of an appointment setter or a sales development rep, often called an SDR. And that person is really there to do a short discovery call to make sure that you're speaking with people that are a good fit. And so how does that update our process, this is really phase two. The first part of phase one really doesn't change from our organic content perspective, right? You have organic content, we're getting into conversations, we can qualify in the chat. That qualifying by chat could go directly to the consultation, or depending upon how strapped for time these people are, we could just invite them to a 15-minute call where we do all of the qualification there. So this could literally be a 15 to 20-minute call. Now, if we zoom in on this discovery call, what are we really doing? Again, we're just trying to qualify. We want to give them a demo of what we do, high level, how it works and how it might benefit them. And we want to get, again, verbal interest to see if there's a match and it's worth having a conversation to see how we could help. You will find that you'll have discovery calls and you might say, hey, actually, I don't think it's best for us to have a conversation. We don't actually work with people like you, or that's not our wheelhouse. So, best of luck. Here's someone that I might know. But if they are qualified, again, we are then having this 15-minute call schedule the consultation right over here, which we've already talked about. So if we zoom out, phase two is not all that much different. It's just instead of qualifying in a conversation and driving them directly to a consultation, we're inserting a 15-minute discovery call that is going to be utilized to further protect the founder's time. So say as a founder, you can really only handle 20 calls a week and you're getting those 20 calls, but only 10 of them are qualified. Well, if you start now having an SDR come in and have this discovery call first, you're going to be more likely to get your 20 slots filled with quality people that are going to be better candidates for your service. And so that SDR is going to be doing some of that triaging of, are we a good fit? Can we help you? Do you need what we have? Do you want what we have? And are you looking for help? Yes. Let's have a consultation. And so that's a really great way, if you're still doing a founder-led sales process, to bring in help that's going to be fairly affordable to bring in and insert them into the sales process to protect your existing call slots, talking to the most qualified people for what it is you do. All right, now let's look at version 3, which I'll say is a little bit more advanced. And I'm seeing people do this now that are really experienced in sales. I'm just testing this right now and it's going pretty well. And you'll see if we zoom in, everything's really still the same, except we've added in a presentation and or a pitch. So what's the difference between a presentation in my eyes versus a consultation? I think now more than ever, we have very sophisticated and educated buyers, and they want to just see how things work. And so the presentation can be a Loom video that walks people through how you do stuff before a call. You could, on the call where you typically would do the consultative close process, you would actually take them through a presentation of the proposed solution. So it'd be kind of a hybrid, make sure that they have the problems that you help with. And then you come in and we would present a proposed solution that has a price, scope, timeline. Again, some people more advanced are selling from a Google Doc right now. We've been able to do that a little bit, where at this stage, the person has a clear understanding of what it is, what they're getting. And if they had that level of transparency, they'd probably make a decision to move forward and or not, and you'd be able to protect your time. So instead of being very kind of consultative based, it's, hey, are we a good fit? Let us show you how this can benefit you, and we'll take you through more of like a demo. And I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but I've seen the prospects coming to the call more interested and looking for, oh my God, I can see how that will help me. And so I see it as more of like a demo, like a SaaS demo, where first I reiterate what their problem is. I make sure that we're on the same page, that I think we can help. And then I'm just showing them how our process works and where it will benefit them based on what they told me. And then I can give them examples of other people like them that this process has worked for. And so it feels more like a presentation than a live consultation, although there is a consulting element to it. And again, why I'm saying this is more advanced and the future-ish is the ability to put together a short video in Loom or a Google Doc that accurately conveys what you do in a way in which people will just pay you after reading that Google Doc and or seeing that presentation in a Loom video. You will likely have had to have a lot of reps and enrolled a lot of people into your service. Now, there's always asterisks to this and exceptions to the rule, but if you've worked with 700 people and you can clearly articulate exactly what steps they're going to go through, you can share that in like full transparency in a presentation and say, look, we've worked with 700 people or 100 people or 50 people that look just like you. Here's what we can do with you and how I think it might help. Now, let's hop on a call to see if it's actually a fit and if the timing is right and all that stuff. So you can kind of do a Loom video into a call. You can do the live presentation all in one sitting. But I think kind of the where we're seeing sales go, at least in B2B services, is people are expecting a bit more transparency, especially in sophisticated markets. If they've worked with other agencies and if they've hired other consultants, then you being able to demonstrate your process, your methodology, and your approach, and very clearly point out how it's going to help solve the problems that they told you about is going to make for a more seamless, I'll say less stressful sales experience. So again, as you can see, there's 3 very subtle differences. There's always content or ads getting people to come into our world. We are qualifying either through a questionnaire or a short discovery call, which can again happen with a sales development rep and or you as the founder. And we are having a consultation for 45 to 60-ish minutes, understanding their pains and problems and prescribing how our services can help them, all the way down to the future-ish where you've done that so many times, you can get away with having a video or a document that walks them through how you can help woven into that process. Every single sales process that I've been in, a part of, has done these core pieces. And I think with technology, video, we're just seeing people find more interesting ways to create leverage and make it a less cumbersome process for the prospect. If your market has high skepticism, having them consume a video beforehand, while yes, it might decrease the number of calls you can get, if that's how you buy, then you might want to consider how you're making your prospects buy. And that's my final takeaway here is as you develop your sales process, however it iterates, this was just how it iterated for us. I think now more than ever, think about how you buy as a prospect. I love transparency. I love the, hey, here's what it looks like. And I'm always trying to get better. I'm not going to say I'm always perfect, but the more that I can expose through these videos of what it's like to work with us and what we focus on and who's a good fit and who's not, before we ever have a conversation, the more productive our conversation is going to be. There's a handful of studies that have shown, I think Google's most recent study talks about when people get on the phone to actually buy, like they're already 80% through their own buying process. Like they're really close to making a decision. And if you leverage your marketing and your content and you show up authentic and transparent, I think the calls that you're going to have are going to be a lot better. At least they have been for us when people have watched a ton of our videos and then they come on the call, they're already bought in on our methodology, our approach, etc. Now, that being said, again, when I got started, I didn't have all of this stuff. So I was trying to talk to as many people as possible and understand their situation so that I can continue to refine and iterate. So that's why phase one, founder-led only, we're having as many conversations as possible, whether they're qualified or not. We are not putting them through hoops. All the way through to 5 years later, we're a lot more advanced, still a ton to improve on, and we're able to share Loom videos that do a lot of the heavy lifting for us or a Google Doc before we hop on a conversation. And it's been extremely helpful for myself and the team to have a sales process that aligns with our values as well. So hopefully this is helpful. If you found this useful, please share your biggest takeaway in the comment section below and share this with an agency friend or a consultant friend if you know that they're struggling with sales. Now, if you're looking for what I believe to be the future of the agency and consulting business model market, go ahead and watch this video right now.